Hello everybody, Ben Rogers here, the Raptors guy, just reacting to the Toronto Raptors 104-101 loss. Overtime loss to the Philadelphia 76ers, and this one, another heartbreaker for the Toronto Raptors. I discussed how the Kings game we had last week, the offense looked a little bit better, it was a close game there. The Brooklyn Nets game last week, we sort of came back into our own, we're scoring on offense, and even the game against the Warriors this weekend, where we still got slapped, things were still ugly, right? Had a decent offensive outing, had a decent offensive performance. And tonight, the Raptors did have their ups and downs like they have in pretty well all of our games in recent weeks. But, man, we are continuing to dig ourselves more and more of a hole. And it's not from a lack of trying from a couple of our star players. I mean, OG Anunoby's doing literally everything he can on the defensive end to, anchor our squads, whether he's asked to guard Embiid, guard James Harden, guard Tobias Harris. OG Anunoby's doing everything he can out there. And then Pascal Siakam. It's in the title. It's in the thumbnail. Get this man some help. Get him someone that he can go out there and run out there on the court with, because it is getting ugly. It is getting profound how he's putting up big performance after big performance. I mean, his worst game this season was like 19 points and 7 assists or something the other night, right? This is just brutal, right? The Raptors are coming out and they're having moments. They're having big performances from some players. And then the rest of the guys that have been inconsistent this season haven't been able to step up. They go on runs where they just absolutely sell the game for the other team, right? We were up by 7. I think we were, 7 in the fourth quarter with a couple minutes to go. We had the game in the palm of our hands. It was ours to lose. And then we just start missing open threes. And we'll be discussing what Fred VanVleet is hucking up there, because we'll look at his box score in this game. But, Pascal Siakam, like, you look at the stats. And this guy, 48 minutes. He's asked to play 48 minutes, 38 points, 15 rebounds, 6 assists on 13 to 27 shooting from the field. And down the stretch of this game, it had some clutch shots. And then in overtime, right, 5-minute period for overtime, just barely got the basketball. Any look Pascal Siakam was given was handed to by his teammates with some late clock 3-point shot, which is just absurd that he wasn't being able to get his game going. But it is just some madness. And folks, before we get too crazy, get too wild into this, I do have to give you guys a little bit of a insider report, because one way that you might be able to get rich pretty quick. I sound like someone that CoffeeZilla is going to investigate, but if you bet against the Toronto Raptors right now, even when things are looking good, even when things are looking nice, if you end up betting against this team, it's been a safe bet in recent games, because we're on a 6-game losing streak, and the best place to bet on any sport, on any team, is CoolBet. Right, they've been sponsoring the podcast in recent weeks. The best sports book all across Canada. They're safe, right? You can get pretty well any sport, any lines that you want. And if you sign up for CoolBet, let myself or Goody know. We'll get you guys custom lines, especially with trade season coming around. The futures are just going to be wild in terms of predicting, betting on whether guys like Gary, whether Fred VanVleet will be traded. Games like this, you can predict, Goody had a bet tonight about Joel Embiid getting turnovers and stuff. So, definitely sign up for CoolBet. The link's in the description down below. It's free to sign up, so it helps out the channel big time as well. So shout out to CoolBet. But we have a lot of stuff to dive into with this game. And once again, we did it live. I've been, the games have just been brutal to watch. They've been tough to sort of, be on board with, be happy with. But I'm going live here because right now I want a little Raptors therapy session with people in the chat, with people that's going on, because, man, we need a Raptors therapy session, because the Toronto Raptors are out here making me sad. They're making me just absolutely feel disgusting on the insides watching them play, because they're giving us hope, whether it be one of those fake comebacks, whether it be fun runs where we look like the team last season that, had a little playoff run, had a little bit of wind in our sails. And right now, we just cannot consistently bring things together. In the clutch of games, we are just absolutely selling stuff. And I think kazoos need to be thrown out in this one. I think kazoos need to be thrown out early during Raptors therapy sessions. And Fred VanVleet, it has to be discussed. It has to be brought up, because not only was he not playmaking tonight, which is something that I've credited him for, Not only is he, I've been one of the only backers of a Fred VanVleet, defense from last season. He's had his moments at times this year, but his defense overall has just been brutal, especially in recent weeks. There's no defending it at this point. This man was getting absolutely cooked. Anthony Melton was out there, his eyes lit up when Fred VanVleet was in front of him, and Fred's just making these weird defensive slides where he's biting on everything. We know Fred has good hands in terms of picking pockets and stuff, but he's being overly aggressive and just getting out of position on the defensive end, and it's a bad look. And then once again, a guy that all the advanced stats showed last year, one of the best dribble pull-up transition three-point shooters last season, one of the best catch and shoot three-point shooters last season. Not the best, he's not Steph Curry, Dame Lillard, but one of the better players in the league in terms of accuracy and efficiency. This season has fallen off a cliff in terms of shooting effectiveness. I mean, we all know Fred VanVleet is not a paint scorer, and I did like what he was doing sometimes last week, trying to get his game going at least while the three-point shot's not going down. He had a couple 40-point games and stuff, but tonight, look at the box score. I mean, 9 points, 3 assists, 6 rebounds. He's hustling at least on the boards, but 2 of 11 from the three-point line. And this is not a 2 of 11. This is not a 2 of 11 where, it was talked about, especially after the Magic losses, where Fred VanVleet's just getting really tough Nick Nurse is coming out on post-game podcast saying, the Orlando Magic guarding him are really tight. Teams are just closing out on Fred left, right, and center. And sure, some of his shots are contested. Some of his shots are bad looks. Some of them are late in the clock. But you know what? Not tonight. Maybe there was 1 or 2, but late in this game, when the Toronto Raptors desperately needed someone other than Pascal Siakam to get their game going, to get something out there on the court, Fred VanVleet was selling. Open, completely naked. He was left on an island. No one guarding him. 3-point shots, back rim, in and out. Just couldn't get a ball inside. He couldn't throw a ball in the ocean tonight. 2 of 11 from the 3-point line. Like Fred, you're not an inside scorer. You're not naturally the most gifted facilitator. You've been better, right, this season, especially at the start of the year, right? When the Raptors were winning games, Fred VanVleet was passing the ball. It's great. And sure, he's, I think there's a lot of over dramatics being made about Scotty Burns, Fred VanVleet not passing to each other and stuff. But if you're not hitting shots, man, what is your value right now? You're not playing defense like we know you used to be able to. You're not hitting your threes. In games like this, you only have 3 assists. So you're not creating that much for other players. You're sure as heck not scoring in the paint. It's hard to continue to defend this guy night in, night out in these post-game reactions. We have to be honest with ourselves. I'm at a loss for words right now, and the law of averages just states some of these 3-pointers have to go down because he's never been this abysmal from the 3-point line for this long of a stretch. But I don't feel good about him shooting up open shots anymore. I'm reading the chat, and I don't like buying into just bagging on players when they're down. I'm still not sold to bring back some tank animations and go all out for Victor Wembanyama. I mean, 3 of our last 4 games have been within 1 point. We've played really good teams that have been thriving lately. So, we are solid. I hate how much I'm saying in this podcast because the Raptors are just not able to close games because they don't have someone on the offensive end that can help out Pascal Siakam. OG Anunoby's been great, and he's asked to do a lot, especially in games like this. And when you look at our roster construction, it's brutal to see OG Anunoby having to guard and all of his energy zapped out of him because he's our focal point defender on a Joel Embiid. Thaddeus Young got some run on him. I thought that actually played really well tonight. Pascal did a solid job when he was switched on him, but OG is the primary defender on Joel Embiid right now, and that's not what we should be doing to our elite 3-point, our elite on-ball defending wing. You're keeping him out of possession. You're moving him from a place of, he's very valuable at locking people down. He gets 4 steals a night, or at least at the start of the year. Now we have him guarding posts. You're taking him out of where he's most valuable. And then he's less energetic on the offensive end because he's trying to guard someone that's 100 pounds heavier than him. So you can't blame OG for his offensive struggles, but that's just tough. I mean, he still wasn't even that bad on the offensive end. OG Anunoby in this one, 13 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, missed a couple shots down there at the end. But I'm not blaming this game on OG. I'm not blaming it on Pascal. But, Scotty Burns awards. These things have been, these have been positive. These have been positive out here, right? Like, for the past season. But Scotty Burns, man, it's not been good. He has not been good lately. He's had his ups, he's had his downs. It's a sophomore slump. He'll get out of it. For people that are taking it out of context and people that want to trade Scotty Burns, saying he's not that great, that is a bad take. Scotty Burns is going to be amazing. I'm seeing a lot of people lose hope in him. This is just how it goes with young players. They have their ups and downs. But we have to be honest. We have to be open and honest when those downs are happening. And once again tonight, Scotty Burns, 6 points against a division rival. He was benched for a large chunk of this game. He only came in with 2 minutes to go in the fourth, and I was surprised that Scotty Burns was brought in for Thaddeus Young, to be 100% honest. Thad was getting some fouls, but 6 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 turnovers, 3 of 9 from the field, 0 of 3 from the 3-point line, and in the fourth quarter, in overtime, the Raptors were on some pick and rolls because Joel Embiid was completely sagged off him, wasn't even expending any energy. He was just standing in the paint ready to double Pascal Siakam, leaving a rookie of the year, a guy that's supposed to be a potential superstar, completely on an island making those drives. He made one nice take, but then the rest of the possessions, he's just hesitant. Right, he's catching the ball at the 3-point line, and he's ready to shoot, and then he passes it up. He takes a couple dribbles. Oh, I'm going to shoot again. Oh, no, the defender's on me now, so I got to pass it to Pascal Siakam with 3 seconds left on the shot clock to shoot a fadeaway 3, which isn't his game. Doesn't make any sense, especially the fourth quarter, man. And kazoos are going out left, right, and center in this one. Nick Nurse, why aren't we getting the basketball to Pascal in overtime? This guy had some gorgeous moves, some gorgeous plays. Was cooking PJ Tucker, was cooking double teams all night for this Raptor squad. I don't think he touched the basketball in the first 4 minutes of overtime. Maybe early, like in the first 30 seconds, but I don't know if he touched the basketball in the first 4 minutes. And the 2 times he did touch the basketball, the first one was late in the shot clock with the defender all up in his grill with 5 seconds left. What's he supposed to do at that point? And then late in the game, they finally gave him a call to run the last shot. But is a dribble pull-up 3 from Pascal Siakam? I don't care how good he is. That's not his game, right? That's not what we want, the ideal shots for Pascal Siakam. We needed someone that can knock down threes to hit those shots. Pascal Siakam, he can't do everything. And Todd Kelly, Pascal Siakam did not choke. He hit a game winner to bring this game into overtime. Who choked are the players that didn't give him the basketball in OT. That's who choked, not Pascal Siakam. Get this man some help. Get Pascal Siakam some help. This guy is a player that can legitimately be the level he's playing right now, at least a 1B on an upper echelon playoff team. And by upper echelon, I mean borderline contender. Pascal has been that good this season. But we don't have anyone else that can alleviate pressure. Fred VanVleet's man is diving in to help. He's getting open threes. Our all-star, Fred VanVleet, is getting open threes and selling them in the most important moments of the games. Fred VanVleet is supposed to be clutch. He's supposed to be steady Freddy. He's supposed to be the guy that we rely upon late in games. Selling. But I will not take any Pascal Siakam slander. Pascal deserves better. He deserves better because he's been remarkable this season. But, man, I don't know. It sucks because we have a team. Chris Boucher tonight, 13 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. Thaddeus Young, 8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. I thought gave us some really, really good energy there in the fourth quarter. Kem didn't even do brutal in his stretch of minutes. Only got 1 foul, surprisingly. Usually we have him hacking up fouls, but man, Malachi Flynn tonight, 5 points. It would be nice for him to knock down some threes. I don't think this game should be indicative of him being thrown to the bench left, right, and center. But let me know what you guys think. Juancho Hernangomez, 14 minutes. We had him run in center. Like, no Koloko tonight, no Delano Banton. Like, playing in the rotation. Gary Trent Jr. is obviously injured. Precious, Otto Porter Jr. out, but... Whew! And, Sarpuya is saying, where's Jalen Harris? He's on the New York Knicks. He's not coming back. But people are discussing. We should start tanking. We should start, I'm not bought into the tank just yet. Now, someone brought up a decent point, because I said in our therapy session yesterday. So it's still in the animation, right? I want to be swayed to, get rid of the tank vibes. I still got Aaron Baines in the tank. I want us to win. But I don't mind if we tank this season and we don't give up all of our key players. I don't want to do a fire sale and get rid of guys like Pascal Siakam. Sell pennies on the dollar for Gary Trent Jr. Heck, as much as I bagged on Fred VanVleet, and as bad as he's been, unless we think he's going to walk for nothing, unless we don't think we're going to pay him, because it might be better off just keeping Fred VanVleet, getting him at a reasonable contract, but that might be a roastable take in the comment section below. But I'm not all about fire sale of our players, selling low. We know they can be better. But right now, we're losing with this team. We might not need to trade away all of our guys to get Victor Wembanyama. And so many of our guys are heavily sought out after in the trade market. Every single report that's come out regarding potential Toronto Raptors trades are teams would love to have OG Anunoby. Teams would love to have Pascal Siakam. Teams would love to have Gary Trent Jr. So, it doesn't make sense to sell low on these dudes when they've been injured, when our team has been struggling on that front. I don't think we just blow it up. I'm not on camp blow it up. Tank, sure. Rest the guys. What did the Oklahoma City Thunder have going last season? The plantar fasciitis spreading around with the health and safety protocols. Afraid of catching the viral plantar fasciitis. Maybe we get that going, but that's what's happening. Jeffrey M saying, don't trade guys who are struggling. That's how you lose every year. It's like stocks. Don't sell low. Sell high. A lot of our players' trade stocks are low right now. We don't give up on all that. Maria's saying, can this be a coaching problem as well? 100% is a coaching problem. Now, I'm not on the camp either. Fire Nick Nurse. He's a brilliant basketball mind. We saw what he's done with properly constructed teams. We saw what he did last season with a team that wasn't even that well structured. Nick Nurse is a good coach, folks. But he has been making mistakes, and he does deserve to get called out for making mistakes. Does that mean he should be fired? No. Does that mean things should be adjusted given our current roster construction? Or at least we should say we think that's the case? Yes. And he's playing Fred VanVleet 40 minutes a night, which he's struggling, man. He's struggling. He's running some of our guys to the ground. It's not right. We need to develop some of these dudes, especially when we're losing. If we're on a 10-game, if we're 2-8 in our last 10, we're on a 6-game losing streak, does it make sense to play our top guys 40 minutes a night? No. Do you know why? One, because they're only going to get worse as the games go along. The more minutes you play them, 40 plus, the sports science is out. If you run your players to the ground, they get worse. Not that crazy of a medical insight there. I don't need to be a PhD. You don't need to be a PhD in sports medicine to have that insight. So that's one. Two, right? So the players are going to get worse. We're losing anyways. Guys, we're taking L's. Right? The 40 minutes a night is not helping. Last season it did. That's why, sure, we criticized Nick Nurse, but it was more on the front office to say, hey, get this team a bench. Nick Nurse is just trying to win us games. And sure, that strategy worked this year, but it's not even working this season. So it's tough. It's tough. But Jeff Doubt and Justin Champagnie Poppy. I know he's making weird Instagram
all right.
posts, but it's how it goes. This entire team is mid. Just a minute, Ben. Our bench is mid. We don't have depth. And as Fred VanVleet said in a post-game interview the other day, our team is not built to have injuries. I'm a believer in this team if we have Precious, Otto Porter Jr., Gary Trent Jr. healthy. I am. We have some people that can come in even when there's struggles, and a Nick Nurse that has guys that he can rely upon to switch in and switch out. But our bench is mid. Like, we don't have any guys that can come in and replace players. It's just, we can't. I mean, Juancho Hernangomez, the cruise missile, God love him from out there hustling, but 7 points. What's he doing out there? Or he's not having that much of an impact on the offensive end. He's been a consistent deep bench player on teams like the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Utah Jazz. He's not going to miraculously come to our squad and be a superstar, even if he could be better, right? But our starting lineups, I'm still confident our starting lineup. It might be weirdly constructed, but we have very, very talented players. But we should develop the bench since we're tanking anyways. Yeah, like, see what they can do. I like the fact that we're giving Flynn at least an opportunity at this point. I think we are, but Jeff Doughton and Justin Champagny at least deserve some run. But yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Nurse is much smarter than anyone in this chat. Players suck at these. Players suck. That's the issue. And definitely agree. The basketball mind Nick Nurse is higher than anyone that's out here talking. But you don't need to run your guys 40 minutes into the ground, right? You can be smart in some areas and then miss some stuff on that front. But Will saying that we can arguably only miss one player before our depth goes down the drain. 100% facts, Will. 100% facts. And Seth, I'm in agreement. I love how every year we say our bench is deep for it to only be mid. That's true. And Flynn knocked down some tough shots. True. Very talented is a tier below great. Is it? Jeff deserves to play. Jeff certainly deserves some opportunities. If you're okay with talented starting lineup, then a great one. I don't know what you're saying there, but I could design a half-court offense. Run some ISOs, baby. Get out I coach a U16 boys team. Our offense is much smoother. Not actually, but do you think Nurse should be fired? Not a chance, Joe. He sounds pretty inept in these post-game conferences. I think he's saying the right things in the post-game press conferences. Get Fred off the ball, run some actual sets, have more energy on defense. I don't think Nick Nurse is wrong in the things he's saying, but it's not executing. Right? He's not properly doing it. I appreciate the love there, Jeff, but just have defense, guards. We do need some guards. Just have defensive players with zero offense. Bricks lead to low confidence on both ends. Very good point there, Devin. Right, you're selling on offense, then the motivation starts to lack on defense. But the Raps are slightly above the Leafs. Not saying much. Definitely. Well, the Leafs have been good this year, I believe. So check out Leafs Digest. They're killing it as always. But Thad should have stayed on. I agree. Thad should have played. But I know Nick Nurse is actually the source of the injuries. Overplayed. That's definitely a part of it, without a doubt. Trade Fred VanVleet for DeLon Wright. I was a DeLon Wright guy back in the day, but definitely would not trade Fred for him. Besides OG, the Raptors defense is not that good. Numbers show. Agreed way. But just imagine the picks we can get in trades. I'm not sold on a bunch of picks. That's my take. But funny how most of our guys are picked due to defensive mindset, and our defense is not there. Nick Nurse, I think, is a font. He's awesome. Geeks, I'm still a Nick Nurse fan. Andre is saying equals Tom Thibodeau. Disagree. But won a championship 3 years ago, and you think he's Bush League now? Really? You're childish. I agree, Ann. Not to bash anyone in the comment section. And I'm not bashing on anyone that's overreacting to games. In moments like this, you have the right to overreact. You have the right to say some wild things. But it's tough. It's tough. We forever going to be reminded that we passed on Desmond Bane. That's Masai's biggest hell. Sure, Malachi Flynn wasn't a horrific draft pick. There's definitely potential there, and Fred wanted to pick him, but Desmond Bane would have been amazing. But we're saying playing. What's the keys to the Knicks game? Man, the keys to win the Knicks game is just play 48 minutes. I mean, obviously you got to lock in on Julius Randle, RJ Barry, let him shoot the threes, Jalen Brunson, all those dudes. But it's Right now, it's just give the ball to Pascal and let him run, baby. If we're gonna run ISO offense, at least give it to Pascal. But Achua is our best rebounder if you look at the depth stats, so it's not surprising we usually lose the bench minutes. Him and Boucher. Boucher is pretty solid on the boards. I mean, how many boards did Boucher have tonight? Like 10 rebounds. He had another double-digit one the other night. But Precious is definitely a guy out there. But trade Pascal to a team that can give him another ring. Paradise Lost. Like, to be fair, looking at how Pascal's trade value has gone up, this is by far the highest it's ever been. Now, I'm not the proponent of trading Pascal Siakam, but we would definitely get a really amazing return for him right now in the open market. And some people that aren't Pascal believers probably should be the ones arguing that, hey, we should be making a move there for Pascal. But I'm not one of those people. Just mentally exhausting. Don't even want to watch the next game. Jimmy, I feel you, man. It's mentally exhausting watching this team right now because we have high expectations. We have a lot of talent, but it's not working. Whether it be mental, teams are just frustrated. We're sad with how the roster's looking. We're not motivated. We're not bringing it on the defensive end. Whatever it is, it sucks. But Paige, please get a ticket to Jersey. We'll keep OG and Nick Nurse. What's happening? I don't know if there's happening. I do miss Norm Paljo. I've been a Norm stands from day one, so that's what's happening. Precious ain't gonna help if he can't shoot. Agreed. But next game is pretty much a must win if we want to avoid the plan, unless we go on an awesome win streak. I'm not sold we're fully out of it. I mean, guys, it's still December. No, we're not the Boston Celtics. I've seen those comparisons pop up. We're not gonna make a miraculous finals run this year. But we can turn things around a little bit. We're not desperate at this point, at least. Even if we're playing like it a little bit. But it's painful after painful losses. It's, Dante, I've been saying, I don't think we blow it up. But if a tank is necessary, a tank will happen. But I think we can do it maybe with selective resting rather than trading our guys, selling low on a bunch of our players. I'm not spending hundreds of a ticket to see this show in person this year. Save your money, Paige. Save your money. Agreed. But it is always fun watching the Raptors play. But I'm with you, Seth. What's Seth saying? I'm starting to treat this like the Tampa year where I expect every game to be a loss, so I'm never disappointed. I wish I could do that, boys, folks, girls, boys and girls, men and women, whoever's watching the pods, because it's I just have undying optimism for this team. And maybe it makes for better content, maybe it makes for worse content. It's just literally how I've always been. So I'm hoping we get a little win streak. As Jimmy's saying, let's manifest a win streak coming. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Just so you salvage a season and after 6 or 7 game win streak, what's it? I don't mean you're going to the finals, Ben, but yeah, 100%. We can definitely salvage this. And if we don't, like right now on the tanking ladder, we have the 9th best odds. We have a 4.5% chance, assuming the season ended today, to land Victor Wembanyama. It is what it is. I'll take 4.5% chance at him. The best teams only get 14, so the 7th best odds have moved into the top 4 pretty well every year of the recent years. So it's what's happening. But Ben, you got some mad patience. I do try to maintain my patience. This is why the Leafs always lose. Excuses. I don't think it's the fans why the Leafs be losing, or the Raptors, or any team. I think it's the front office and the players and stuff. We just are out here to support. But Will is saying that if we go down another game, we need a big turnaround. Yeah, you're true. 100% correct there. But Jake Paul Meditation is saying don't laugh. But I think the potential will shine. Some guys, I guess, will take a while to be great. That's how it goes. Definitely believe in the boys. But Gershon saying, Ben, they need to get out there. Need to get you there so you can have a team pep talk. Hey, there's one thing I can do. I can hype up a group of basketball players. That's what's happening. But we keep taking bad shots. True. And Embiid didn't even do that well. Tough loss. Yeah, we played solid defense on Embiid. Riker showing up is the only one who can save us. Man, let's get Riker out there suited up on the court. Let's get Riker out there on the court. But I really respect the optimism, but I just can't keep it up. I definitely don't blame anyone for not being able to keep it up. It's a tough go, but I don't know. What did I made my predictions. Top 3 seed, and a trade is coming. So that's what's happening. Jake, I'm always trying to laugh. I'm a bubbly guy, I've been told. But what if we land Victor? Some of these tanking folks will win some games. I would love Victor Wembanyama. That would be great, but you know, you don't blow up your team for like a 10% chance of a dude. You just don't do it. It's too risky, especially where we have some actual talent on this team. Now, do you rest players? Maybe, but trading Pascal and stuff, which might be necessary to full out tank, then you don't make that happen. But G is saying, why not be positive? Either way, they make a run, make the playoffs. Worst case, they don't make the playoffs, and we got to go lottery pick. Facts, G. We got to support the squad. Support the boys. Especially in December. Like, once February comes around, especially post-trade deadline, and this team is still losing, then the tank hats will be on. Kazoos will be played. Animations will be made on these live streams, and I'll be full rooting for this team to lose. Once things are kind of out of reach, when our max, as Masai Ujiri says, playing for what? But the Raptors are capable of making a little run here at the end of the season. Doesn't mean we'll reach my top 3 seed prediction, maybe not. But it does mean we can be better. And losing cultures just suck for like guys like Scotty Burns, young developing players. So it's a direction we can go in and all that sort of stuff. But see us trading for Jordan Clarkson or Jakob Poeltl. I wouldn't mind that. But tank can get you players like Wiseman or Ayton. Not worth losing all your good players for. 100% agree. 100% agree. Harrison saying, I'm sad, but I don't know what we do. What's the direction? It's hard to look at this team to sell, but also what other talent do we have besides our 7 main guys, especially when 3 of them are bad. Very good point there. And this is also, right? I booked it in, folks. I've locked it in. If you guys want to book in any predictions, sign up for CoolBet using the link down below. It helps us out big time. But I looked it in. A trade will be made. The roster doesn't make sense right now. It's clear. Especially and roster construction. I think we have a talented team. I think there's a lot of good players on this Raptor squad, especially our top 7 or 8. A lot of them are injured right now. But we need role players that sort of complement the dudes that are struggling. When Fred VanVleet might get injured for a stretch, or he might be struggling. Do you know what makes sense? Even if they're a little bit less talented, but get a backup point guard that can knock down some threes. If your top guys are still, up and down from behind the 3-point line, but bring solid defense, does it make sense to have off your bench a guy that, is also up and down, does the exact same thing? So if the offensive vibes are bad, one of those guys that sort of offense, that, solid offense rises all boats, right? Let's get a guy that can sort of swing the momentum in terms of get you some more 3-point looks. Like, let's get that stuff rocking rather than a bunch of the same type of player. When the strategy's not working, you can't really change anything. So it's no single trade can salvage the season. It's going to be on our players. It's going to be on Nick Nurse. It's going to be on the squad to salvage the season. Maybe a shakeup motivates the guys, but that's whatever. But I see what you're saying there, the Wolf. But Mr. Flame is saying, honestly, Fred VanVleet in the front office can find an extension deal. They might as well trade him and G Money later in the season for when their value is still a little bit higher. Might make sense. But G's saying, worst case, unintentionally tank and they get a good pick. With this core, is that so bad? Imagine getting a good pick without selling off. Best case, they make some moves and make a run. Couldn't agree more, G. That's my headspace right now, especially in December, right? Like, after the trade deadline, if we want to rest guys, make it happen if we're trying to tank. But I know, right? We might get a good pick with some luck. Who knows? Right? And Way is saying, I don't agree with you. Nurse plays Fred 38 minutes a game regardless, so it doesn't matter if we trade for a scoring guard. It's on Nurse's stubbornness. Sure, but I think if we have a player that's good, maybe Nick Nurse would, not to bash on Flynn or anything like that, but a guy that Nick Nurse can trust and can do some things, then we might be better off. But that's what's happening. And yeah, 2 of 11 from the 3-point line is brutal. It's brutal. Alan Vlogs, I agree. We need Summit. But Paige is saying Nurse is crap. He needs to go and take his mural with him. Can't be hating. Can't be hating on Nick Nurse like that. But problem with Barnes is he's just a college kid. Let him play in the G League for a couple months. I don't think he needs to play in the G League for a couple months, but I do agree he's young and he needs to develop and get his working pains out. But it'd be nice if we had some of our veterans playing a little bit better to compensate for Scotty Burns' development. But I don't know why they stopped giving Scotty his looks in the post. Couldn't agree more with that. I think part of that Scotty Barnes being passive, and getting those looks down there, but also, the system. But Adnan is saying that we need to hire some ex-NBA coaches to help out Nick Nurse. We got Nate Bjorkred. We got Earl Watson on our bench. We got Adrian Griffin, who's going to be a future head coach in Canada. We have a lot of guys on our coaching staff. And we'll see us pay the bag for that. So I have a feeling we'll get Victor. My sixth sense is tingling. Geeks, I'm praying your sixth sense is correct. Hopefully you don't need to trade our whole core to get him. But folks, that's enough for the therapy session tonight. Appreciate everyone that came in the chat, watched along with this vid right now. Hopefully the Toronto Raptors can swing things around, at least make the season a little bit more exciting. But as mentioned, sign up for CoolBet. If you're one of the 164 people in here who want to support the channel, sign up for CoolBet. It's free to sign up for. And, it's the best sporting book you guys can sign up for. And subscribe to the channel. Deflating loss for this Raptor squad, but you guys are the best. I'm signing out. Cheers.